So everything that a person can do that builds vagal tone, that nervous system capacity. So I'm always telling my teachers, your nervous system capacity is your greatest resource. So for some of us, that's running, and some of us, it's being outside in nature and gardening. And, so there's so many practices that support vagal tone. For me, as a breathwork teacher, I understand voluntarily regulated breathing practices being one of the fastest ways that help recondition the nervous system. And this is over a lifetime of conditioning, right? So this is not something we expect people to change in a day after you've been trained all your life that a certain man of a certain color means danger to you, to then soften your whole being and be receptive to meet people on a one-on-one basis for who they are and not for how your nervous system's been taught to brace. It's not a quick thing.
No.
So for me, I would say coherent breathing was one of the best mind body practices that I practice on a regular basis, and then I teach on a daily basis, helping us slow the breath down to 5 breaths per minute. So research shows that 5 to 6 breaths per cycles per minute is the optimal breath rate for helping to increase heart rate variability and build vagal tone. And it's a trauma-informed practice as well. And I have found that when I'm guiding teachers to adopt that practice, start off at 5 minutes a day, then move to between 5 to 10 minutes a day. Occasionally we do 20-minute practices to really give that nervous system a chance to recondition. But it's really that combination of breath plus movement plus sound. So a lot of times people don't feel like they're successful when they yoga too. All yoga practices have a lot of physical movement before you slow down to do the breath work or the meditation. And so a lot of people aren't always aware that you need things that discharge the stress energy in the body. And Peter Levine talks about this a lot too in his embodied trauma work. We have to do more to shake, to tap, to stomp, to clap. And you think about indigenous cultures with the drumming, or the Sufis that spin and twirl for like 20 minutes before they lay down to meditate. We have to have these practices that move that stress energy, that move that fear energy from the body, to then slow down to do regulating breath, or to do mindfulness meditations, loving kindness meditations, the things that boost that empathy, compassion factor, and allow us to be able to have stronger neural networks for connecting across lines of difference. So we have to stop taking it from the mind first, and we have to address it, the identity threat, from the body first. And then that's the difference.
Yeah. Can I be bold and ask you to do just a smallest practice form that you'd love to share with us to get us also into our bodies and walk our talks?
Okay, I'll do a seated one. How about that?
Perfect.
So when we're in the office chair, because sometimes we can't always get out of our seats and go somewhere. So I would like to share a practice that I can help people do from a chair.
Yeah.
So very briefly then, whenever you do practices that twist the spine, particularly discharge practices, but any kind, our sympathetic nerves are innervating on the spinal cord. So practices that twist the spine, whether it's a twist and hold yoga posture, or what we're about to do, like a spinal twist, which is a Kundalini practice, we're massaging those sympathetic nerves and helping down-regulate stress on the nervous system. So we would always start with something like that, a shake, a twist, a tap, that lets us move stress energy. And then I would like to invite you to join me in combining breath plus movement plus sound. And we'll do a few rounds of coherent breathing. And on the out breath, we'll breathe out, ah. So ah is the vowel sound that vibrates the heart. So if you think about religions all around the world, many of our deities end with the ah sound in their name, like Jehovah, Rasta, Buddha, Krishna, right? So Ave Maria. So that ah sound activates the vagus nerve at the heart center. So we'll just breathe out that ah sound, and you try to send that vibration right there. All right, so that'll be a quick practice. All right, so with Kundalini, when we're twisting, we breathe in through the nose as we turn to your left, and breathe out through the nose as you turn to your right. So the arms are up and parallel with the floor. And then I'll show the yogic pace, and you can slow it down to whatever works for you. So breathe in left. All right. And as you continue, we normally do this for like 1 to 3 minutes. We'll just do it for 30 seconds today, just so you can catch the feeling of it. Last few seconds. And then breathing in, reach up, stretch up, try to squeeze your ears and hold your breath. Breathe out, open mouth side. Then just take a moment to let your hands rest in your lap. See if you can bring all of your attention to your spine. Just bringing your awareness up and down the length of your spine. Just notice the energy of the twisting feels like in your body. When you're ready, take another deep breath in through the nose. And breathe out, open mouth. And so from here, my hands are cupped and they're sitting in my lap. And again, the breath is in and out through the nose. So with coherent breathing, I will give you a 4 count. I'll offer a 4 count. And if you join me on that 4 count, we'll breathe in for a count of 4. And then we'll be twisting the palms, pushing them up to the ceiling. And then we'll be breathing out for a count of 4 and just bringing those arms all the way back down and around back into the lap. After a few times of that, we'll breathe in the opposite way, breathe in the arms up. And then we'll breathe out with the ah sound as the hands come back down. All right. So starting with the hands resting in the lap. Empty your lungs, breathe out through the nose to my count. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. And breathing out through the nose, 2, 3, 4. Breath in, 2, 3, 4. And breathing out, 2, 3, 4. One more this way. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. And breathing out, 2, 3, 4. And then let's reverse the arms and breathe out the ah sound on the out breath. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out, ah. Again, breath in, 2, 3, 4. Vibrate the heart with the ah. Last time, breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, ah. And again, allowing the body to hold the still point. And can you now bring all of that attention into the center of your chest? See if you can become aware of the residual vibration of that ah sound in the center of your chest. And then finally moving your attention to the space just over the top of your head. See if you can notice one thing that feels different in your body as a result of this practice. And then when you're ready, you can reset your focus.
Like forwards.
Thank you. Yeah, so I highly recommend if you have participants in this program that really want to learn more about ways to bring trauma-informed clinical breathwork into their programs, I highly recommend contacting Breath Body Mind. Our teachers, Dr. Richard Brown and Patricia Garbara, they're psychiatrists, medical doctors that incorporate this work. And I think it's super important that when we're bringing mind-body practices to populations, that we're very careful that it's trauma-informed work. I see a lot of SEL, social emotional learning programs going into schools. Many children with high trauma, with learning disabilities, with nervous system conditions. And sometimes this work can be more triggering than helpful and dysregulating, disorienting.
Mhm.
So we owe it to ourselves to do our best to be really well informed when we are going into schools and other public agencies and things to try to be helpful with this kind of work.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. I think that is important because
Mhm.
sometimes as educators, and okay, it works for me, so it might work for others, but especially when you talk about neurodiversity, because I know that's another expertise you really know very well. I
Yeah,
know their bodies respond very differently. And like you say, also when they're traumatized and maybe we
yeah.
don't know, it can have the reverse effect. So don't
Mhm.
just start experimenting.
Yes, yes,
All the
yes. Take the time
different.
to learn the work and
Mhm.
take the time to embody it for ourselves as well.
Exactly.
Really, when we are sharing any type of socio-emotional, somatic mind-body practice, we really need to show from the depth of our own cultivated nervous system capacity. And it's an ongoing thing for all of us, right?
Yeah.
So it's not about that there's some magic threshold you have to get to before you can be helpful to other people, but it's definitely being side by side with the people you would share this with to show that you stay in the work as a student as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that you can only model when you've been through a certain
Mhm.
level. And then that's also only the credibility, right? Because I think the children, they know they
Oh,
can
yes.
distinguish the crap from the meaningful and the real
Yeah.
ones, right?
Yes, this is not a field that you can get into if you don't really embody it because it shows really quickly and you can't hide it and you don't get a second chance to get by people's trust when vulnerable populations have opened themselves up to you as a trusted other to support them. And then when they find the lack of integrity or the inability to repair and really model what you're leading them toward, you don't get a second chance to come back from that.
They